Oi, oi, crew. This is Gaz and Wood, aka Point 2. I just want to kind of give you a studio tour, show you a bit of my world and kind of what happens in here. I do apologize, there's probably a little swearing in this. I can't really help it, it just happens. I'll try to keep it to a minimum though.
Oi, oi. All right, so I'm doing this with a bit of a line microphone so that we can get the line in. So the video is probably going to be a little janky, but I apologize in advance. So welcome to my studio. Basically, I just wanted to kind of update you with sort of the things I've been doing, and also it just occurred to me that like I kind of have a lot of shit that a lot of people probably are like, the hell does he do with all of this stuff? What I wanted to start off with was what excited me the most about like why I wanted to redo another studio tour is because I got this thing which isn't really very exciting. It's just a line mixer. But basically, and the MPC Live. Now, for those of you playing at home, you would already know I have been having one of them, so there's nothing new. But I just got a second one for the studio, which has enabled me to like set it all up properly. And what I did is I got the MPC Live, the second one, and I got this line mixer. Now, what that kind of is doing for me is now I had this squid, which I had for quite a long time. It's kind of really sucked the squid. Like it really still does sort of suck, but I kind of used it now for specifically. It's now basically controlling my drums. So I got this line mixer here, and I've decided to make a dedicated drum bus, which, you know, that's kind of the whole reason why I'm doing this studio tour, because it excites me. It's a little weird, but anyway. So I kind of got this drum section here. It's controlled. Now, all of my MIDI is synced up. Everything works. Like, it just kind of works. So, you know, at any time I can just come in here, press play, and like everything sort of functions and kind of everything. Now, the reason that can happen is basically because of, you know, this little Myo, I think it's a 10, I can't remember, but it has a lot of MIDI inputs and outputs. And basically, what enabled me to change my thinking was getting this MPC, the second one for the studio, because of its double outputs and double inputs, but more importantly, it's double outputs. It's enabled me, well, it basically outputs everything except CV. And yeah, now I take everything out of that through the MIDI A, and that goes into the Myo. But the MIDI B now goes out to little my Virus TI2, which accidentally quite a long time ago I found out even with that light on, it means it's powered on, so it transmits MIDI. So that's been sort of like the secret sauce for me to actually do this. So the MIDI B from the MPC Live goes to the Virus TI2, which then goes to the Squid. And basically all it's sending is time and start and stop. So what happened then was the Squid runs out to one of these little quadra through things, and then that runs out to the drum buses, the drum machines kind of thing. Yeah, and the thing is B kind of is sort of what's really geeky in that I use this as a through, the Squid. So I can control the drums as well through the Squid, through the MPC Live. So basically, yeah, it all controls, like this can control everything that this does, because this is the master and the Squid and the Deluge are now slaves. That's sort of the big kind of turning point for me, was converting just one into a master and the other two into sort of slaves. So the Squid's duty is drums, and it does it really well. I'll put the microphone down, just give you a quick demo, but basically the Squid is just controlling the Digitact at the moment. Now, obviously I could, like, and I have like my Jungle Rhythms pack on there from Electrona Sounds. You know, that can play it. So I've got patterns on there with drums as well, but this way I can control the LXR and the Nord as well. But anyway, I'll just put the thing down and you'll have a see. Like I filled up all the squid. It was really weird. It says you can have up to like 1,600 patterns or something, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And I sat there for a whole weekend, like 8 hours both days, and I was just chewing through the patterns and stuff, and I got to the end. Like, if I can find the picture, I'll post it on the video. But yeah, I broke it basically. It can't take any more patterns, but they're all drums, so it's pretty cool. I'll show you quickly. So basically, like, that's enabled me now to, my whole idea with at the start of this, like a long time ago, was basically just to be able to create a space where at any point in time I can just come in and just kind of jam, or like if at any point in time I kind of just want to do something, like it enables me to do that sort of thing. So with this, like, that was a big tick kind of for me. Now I have my drums sorted. Every time I come in here, like, I can just create new patterns, like, for days. I mean, this is just one project. I have, like hundreds in here, and that's it, like, it's just, I never have to worry about programming drums anymore. So that sort of made me think, well, that's cool, like, now I don't have to do drums, and that's, like, freed up that. So I thought, well, I really thought about how I was using the Deluge. I sort of have this thing. It wrote a heap of tracks when I first started, and I loved it. Now that I work more in the box, it's kind of, I don't really love it as much anymore. The screen sort of annoys me, and I can't justify buying a new screen for it, even though I could. But I love it, and I don't want to sell it. My daughter loves the lights, and that was a big part of me buying it, to be honest. But and it's written quite a lot of music for me. So I was really kind of like, well, what am I going to do with it? So I slaved this to the MPC, and I thought, well, yeah, like, I made it into like a chord box. So basically now, what it does is I have filled it with like a heap of my favorite chord progressions for each key. I've saved it under each one. So for example, if I load, we have A minor at the moment. So we'll just load that one. So there's maybe about 70 in each key that I've just kind of gone through, and things that I like, and progressions that are like, whoa, like maybe inspiring for a bit later or whatever. But sort of the same deal now with the squid. Whenever I switch everything on, basically all I have to do is just press play and I can jam, sort of thing, which, that's always been the dream. So I give you a little demo. Now, this is where I love the Mio, whatever it's called, is because it takes USB as well. So the USB out of the Deluge goes into the Mio. So once again, that controls like all the synths, like everything. If it goes through there, then it controls everything. This is sort of like my drums and kind of things that I like to fart around with the MX1 effects and that. So sort of the same deal. I just have a heap of chords that I now can just like bang out. Once again, I'll give you a quick demo. It's nothing exciting, but just so you can see. So yeah, as you can see, it's just got heaps of them. You know, I went a bit nuts on that as well, but it was just so that, like, you know, like, more for when I'm not inspired, I suppose. It's easy to just kind of go, well, like, yeah, I could be lazy, but like while I have inspiration and while I'm like, you know, it's nothing to think of a track, then I'll kind of just keep going as I am. But hopefully maybe later on, and you know, it is fun just to come in and just fucking jam, you know, like you got all this shit. It's just cool. Like you just switch it on and then you can just switch it off and then you don't have to worry. And so that kind of brings me like sort of kind of to the end of this kind of bit. You know, these are my synths. We all know them. They're all pretty cool. You know, they all just do what they do. I basically kind of try and use them for the same things in each jam. So usually the Hydra and the mini log I put together. That's what's creating the pad sound in that deluge thing. So this is the mini and the Hydra. I love the Hydra synth, but I always find it sounds Hydra synthy. I was one of the first people like the pre-ordered and all of that. So woo, you know, I wasn't phased. The Hydra had that, like, people hated it because they thought the ribbon sucked at the start and all of that. But I backed it, and I you know, I've always loved it. But I find, like, as I've been had it for a while now, and it just sort of has this sound that's Hydra. You know, it's really, you can get out of it, but it really takes it too long to be bothered, to be honest. I know that's really lazy, but I got other shit I can do it with, like, a lot quicker. But I really do like the Hydra for its unexpectedness and its, like, rowdiness. But I find with the mini log, it perfect pair. Like, if any of you have, like, both those synths, or, you know, any kind of fat, warm, analog-y thing that just rides underneath, it just changes the dynamics of the Hydra, like, 1,000%. Got the Digitone. I love it. I've always had it. I don't know, everyone, like, have a love-hate relationship with it. I don't know, it's like my soul synth that speaks to me. I can always just whip something out of it that I, like, takes 2 seconds, and it just is what it is. I just gel with its structure. The Analog 4, sort of same deal. You know, I use that more for sort of effects and, like, the rises and that kind of thing. I just sort of love playing with the synth, though, because it's just nice. It kind of rewards you if you kind of look for things, you know, like, that's why I love it. Peak, well, I got that because of the Base Station 2, and I was like, well, what could be better than a Base Station 2? Well, a Peak. Kind of regret it. I still wish I had my Base Station 2. That's why I got the Minotaur, because I was like, well, I really miss the Base Station 2. And because I had the Peak, I didn't want to get another Novation sort of thing. So I got the Moog, and I love it. Like, can't be disappointed in it at all. You know, the DBA one, I like that. It's not so much I use it as much, more because I can't be bothered programming it all the time for different shit. But, like, I do like it. Like, it's nice, you know. It's more something I use for sampling, or just for sort of when I just want to have a wang on the knob or whatever, you know. But the other thing I wanted to sort of show quickly was the whole sub-bus thing that I have with my drums. Now, I have this coming out into the MX1, and then it comes from the MX1 into the Allen and Heath Q16, which, you know, obviously I love. But then I have that sort sent out to a little bit of distortion, so I can fatten up the drums. It also goes through the analog heat, just for a little bit more fatness and stuff like that. So I'm really kind of pumped. I really wanted to show you the distortion and, like, the send effect and all of that, because it really is kind of gnarly when it gets going. But just as I bloody switched everything on, the battery ran out. So that sucks. Anyway, you get the point. But and that's kind of the hardware bit of my studio. I want to show you a little bit of software, just kind of what I use in Ableton and stuff like that. I thought it might be cool. Oi, oi. This is the second part of my studio tour.
I just wanted to quickly kind of show you my other world. Nothing really exciting. I use Ableton. I have used other DAWs. I just prefer Ableton. So I just kind of wanted to quickly show some of my top 3, 4, 5s or whatever, just for sort of, you know, everyday kind of things that I use. I'm not going to go into any detail really. I'm just kind of going to show them. Just go off and YouTube them and shit like that. Since I use Faceplant is definitely my most used synth. I just love it. When I'm kind of just feeling a bit more relaxed and kind of just want to get a sound, Serum obviously is the workhorse. Serum's kind of cool. Pigments I really like. I haven't updated yet. I know I need to. And I use like the old school Massive. Reason because I got a shitload of presets for it, but also because I just like it. Now, obviously, distortion plays a big part in what I do. I love distortion. The workhorses for me have to be Trash 2. Saturn 2, like, it does everything, but I find I like it more for, like, the lower end sounds. I like this Faturator. It's, if you've never heard of it, definitely look it up. It's crazy. Like, kilohertz I love. So quickly, reverbs. Reverbs are reverbs, but I just wanted to kind of give like a big shout out to this ROM. I use it all the time. It's really, really good for moving sounds. Valhalla, you always got to give a shout out. I don't know. It's kind of like the girl that's been around the block. Everyone knows it, but it's like it's just a go-to. It just always works. Fab Filter, obviously. Now, I love this reverb, but it's just like science, you know? Like, so delays, obviously, because I'm a bit of a Fab Filter fan. Timeless 3. I love Timeless 3. It's got everything. It's even got Timeless 2 in the settings. It's well worth the money, don't get me wrong. It's really CPU hungry, though. Bloody Isotope. I don't know, it's just another one, quick dial, I can just get in it, whatever I want. Yeah, I don't know, it does what it says. Delays don't really turn me on as much as distortion, so I don't really kind of like froth at them and that. I kind of like the Valhalla again, because of just a little bit of like wonkiness, or, you know, just that like sort of Valhalla vibe is always cool. So EQs and like filter and shit, I just wanted to kind of, you know, obviously big up Pro Q. I love Pro Q. Once you have it, you just can't imagine life without it. I don't know. It's really weird. Soothe 2, I wanted to just kind of tell everyone it's by Oak Sound. And then the Drop. Now, I don't know. It's pretty old school, this thing, but it's like, it's sick. Trust me. If you're looking for a filter, the only reason why this is really sick, I think, is because you get to choose different filters. And like, then you have it for each one. I love the Ableton utility. I use this a lot because of the gain, so I don't like have to, if I'm automating gain and stuff like that, I automate this. Glue compressor, I love this thing, like it's the best. Funnily enough, it's done by the people there, Satomic or whatever. That's the one who do the Drop. Track spacer, I use this for sidechain. If you haven't looked at it, I would definitely highly recommend you get it. It's not highly expensive, but it's like one of those things that will change your life. My leveling thing I use is Levels. I used it age for a while now. I like it because it's easy to see at a glance, really quick. Limiting, I like to limit things, obviously. I use, funnily enough, Fab Filter. I just like it. So the last thing, sort of thing, the sort of secret sauce, is I have SonarWorks. It's sort of like an audio correction thing for my studio. So basically I had to wang around my studio a microphone, and then it sort of took some frequency responses of my room, and then sort of has EQ'd my speakers to sort of kind of eliminate the problems in my room. Anyway, thanks for joining in on my tour. I hope it didn't bore everyone. I try to make it as quick as possible. I apologize if it sucked.